All right, chat, we are live. We got to talk about Morgan Stanley. Breaking the bank, kind of. All right, we're going to use our term that exists already. This is from Documenting Bitcoin. We're going to start with a video, all right, from the Squawk Box, CNBC, and then we're going to take a look at a couple articles, a couple tweets, and we'll go from there. If you guys don't know already, this is the first time you're watching this stream here in 2026. You are watching the Coin Zone, and I'm your host, Crypto with Paul. Let's get right into this quick clip, all right, of the Squawk Box discussing Morgan Stanley and everything about this breaking news with this Bitcoin and Solana ETF that they just filed with the SEC for. Let's get into this.
There's already a lot of Bitcoin ETFs, not so many with some of these other tokens like Solana, Ethereum. Is that, you expect that to come this year?
I think that Morgan Stanley, being the first big U.S. bank to take this step to file to launch its own ETFs, is a huge endorsement. So we've started to see this comeback of institutional cash just in the first few trading days of the year. Finally, the surge in spot Bitcoin ETFs, which were net outflows for the last few months of 2025. And what this really signals is that Morgan Stanley, for one, has been the most progressive. They put out their 15,000 FAs pitching spot Bitcoin ETFs back in August 2024 when it was a much less popular trade. And now you're seeing BlackRock's IBIT accounting for the vast majority of the cash that's parked in those spot Bitcoin ETFs. And if I'm Morgan Stanley, I'm thinking, why not offer it myself? And they're also, through their brokerage, E-Trade, going to let customers directly trade and hold the assets themselves as well.
So they had their FAs, their retail stockbrokers, essentially, recommending Bitcoin, spot Bitcoin to their clients.
That's a subset. So to clients that had a net worth north of 1.5 million, they were specifically pitching BlackRock and Fidelity's funds back then. And they were first movers.
I don't know whether that's scary or good, I guess.
Yeah, very interesting there, but it seems like they are in the mix now, guys. And everybody and their mother is in the mix. It looks like we're not getting a slowdown. The Oracle, what is good, brother? It's good to see you tap in. It's crazy how little the macro news has to do with crypto prices. People like to say news stories move the charts, but they only say that when it fits the narrative. Yes, you're 100% right, man. And we actually talked about this yesterday. On the live stream yesterday, we talked about how this news potentially coming up with the market structure bill could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, because we saw all of 2025. We had all this positive news and nothing happened, and Bitcoin would dump, right? So the Oracle, 100% right. Good comment. Good to see it's happened back in 2026, brother. Now, let's get to an article here by Decrypt. Okay, so Morgan Stanley registers Bitcoin and Solana funds with the SEC. As you guys know, we like to get a little crazy here, a little conspiratorial, and we will be doing that here in a second with an article that I found on X. Well, not an article, but a series of tweets. But it is interesting because we all know that the big players like Morgan Stanley, like JP Morgan, so many Morgans for some reason. Shout out to Morgan, I guess. But we're going to take a look at this even further, guys. So let's do this. Wall Street titan Morgan Stanley submitted registrations for spot Bitcoin and Solana exchange-traded funds products earlier Tuesday morning. At the time of writing, Bitcoin had gained nearly 1% in the past day and was changing hands for $94,000. Meanwhile, Solana had bumped up nearly 6% to trade at around $143. Quote-unquote Morgan Stanley Bitcoin Trust and Morgan Stanley Solana Trust are pending regulatory approval and would be massive investment vehicles that seek to track the performance of the price of relevant cryptocurrency, the bank wrote in a press release. Now, what's crazy to me is how a lot of the other TradFi system has been going Bitcoin and then Ethereum. Well, Morgan Stanley just went Bitcoin and then Solana. Now, listen, guys, our live stream last week was the potential of Solana flipping Ethereum, right? We covered Anthony Scaramucci covering that with CoinDesk. It might have been Matt Hogan too, who also shares a similar sentiment. Morgan Stanley manages 20 ETFs, but mostly under the Calvert, Parametric, Eaton Vance brands. These will be the third and fourth ETFs to bear the Morgan Stanley brand. Pretty remarkable. Who is Matt Hogan? He's the CIO of Bitwise. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's been Matt Hogan. I've seen do interviews where Matt Hogan himself is very, very bullish on Solana. So you have these guys out there that are skipping ETH, going straight to Solana. Can Solana flip ETH? like we covered last week, I don't know. It's an interesting take. Very interesting to see here, guys. So, very interesting here. Now, if you guys want to get a little crazy, okay, bull theory. This is from Ash Crypto, who reposted it. Ash Crypto, obviously, we've talked about him a bunch of times. 2.1 million followers here, guys. But let's take a look at some of this conspiracy angle here when it comes to Morgan Stanley, because this is one of the biggest news pieces today. Here we go. Did Morgan Stanley pull off the biggest crypto manipulation? The sequence of Bitcoin's October crash and January recovery look like a plan set up, and the data supports it. Let's go through it. All right, so we all remember they were supposed to get Uptober, and nope, the exact opposite happened. Everyone pooped their pants. The market's crapped. It was not good. October 10th, the trigger. On October 10th, MSCI, originally a Morgan Stanley division, announced a proposal to remove digital asset treasury companies from its global indexes. That included firms like MicroStrategy and MetaPlanet, whose balance sheets hold billions worth of Bitcoin. This wasn't a small change because MSCI indexes guide trillions of dollars in passive flows. Okay, so far, sure. If those firms were removed, pension funds and ETFs would be forced to sell, institutional exposure to Bitcoin would shrink, liquidity would tighten sharply. Minutes after the announcement, Bitcoin dropped nearly $18,000, erasing more than $900 billion from crypto's total market cap. That's crazy. Then the 3-month pressure window. The consultation stayed open until December 31st, meaning 3 full months of uncertainty. That overhang froze demand. Passive investors avoided exposure. Index-linked funds risked forced selling. Prices stayed weak. Sentiment collapsed. That's true. We all remember these times. During this period, Bitcoin dropped about 31%. Altcoins even more. It was the worst quarter for crypto since 2018. January 1st, sudden pump starts. From January 1st, Bitcoin starts pumping without any bullish news. And in the first 5 days of 2026, Bitcoin jumped 8%. That's 7,300 pump from 87,500 to 94,800. No one knew why, but somehow the relentless selling stopped and Bitcoin was printing back-to-back green candles. These were probably insiders who knew what was coming the next few days. January 4th, 5th and 6th, the reversal. Okay, so the past couple of days here, guys. All right, here we go. Then somehow in 24 hours, everything flipped. First, Morgan Stanley filed for its own spot Bitcoin ETF and Solana ETFs. Then in a few hours, MSCI announced that it would not remove the crypto-heavy companies after all. The exact rule that caused 3 months of selling pressure would suddenly withdraw the same day Morgan Stanley launched a product that benefits from a recovering market. It's not a coincidence. Here's the full sequence in order. Okay. So yeah, we just covered that full sequence. It's a clear pattern, they say. Create pressure, accumulate at low prices, launch products, remove pressure, make money. Yeah, I mean, again, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan's no stranger to this. This is a constant strategic strategy, which kind of sucks. And this is the stuff that we have to deal with. But if we take a look at this chart, October 10th, look at the sell-off right away. And it just continued to cascade up until very recently, guys. Now it looks like we have some sort of a reversal. And I got to say this, though. Throughout the whole time, you got Michael Saylor's crazy ass just still buying. But you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Because this is a little interesting here. It's pretty dang interesting. Okay, if you guys think that there was some sort of manipulation, let me know in the comments. The Oracle, what are you thinking? You know, right now, unfortunately, commodities will be manipulated. We're talking about the same thing happening right now with silver. Okay, for many different reasons. Yesterday, we discovered and we looked at closer the situation in Venezuela. And, we looked at a bunch of times in 2025 where the price of Bitcoin could have been manipulated. And unfortunately, it looks like we might see a little bit more of that for these people's gains, their own potential gains. It's tough. But you guys let me know what you think. in the comments. After 6 years in crypto, I think everything is related to manipulation. Yeah. Look, we all know liquidity drives everything, right? That's what we're talking about with this potential upcoming bull run in 2026. Liquidity. So if you have massive institutions like this that can drive their own forces of liquidity to and from, in or out, I mean, we're talking BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, like these guys combined have trillions of dollars. So yeah, big players like that, if they're all doing something similar, you're going to see something weird or something strange happen in the markets, on the charts. And this is why you got to take everything with a grain of salt, guys. You know, we look at charts. I've been doing some TA as of late. I made a tweet recently showing why I think ADA might have a strong bounce soon, and a couple other altcoins that their charts look similar. But at the same time, you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know behind the scenes that Morgan Stanley could have been pulling the strings, and that's just going to throw away your charts. And whatever you think is going to happen, whatever you're seeing could be completely irrelevant. It's tough. But the Oracle, I do agree with you. It's tough to see. Now, why don't we shift to something more bullish, I guess. XRP has a lot of news for it right now. Up nearly 20% on the month. But XRP broke above $2.12, shrinking exchange supply, fueling a price squeeze. And it also, with that $2.12 level, reached over key resistance. So if you're holding XRP out there, guys, which I'm sure some of you are, because I know we have some XRP guys that follow us here at the Coin Zone and who might just be watching on this live right now. XRP is huge. I think it's going to be very good coming up here soon. I think we're down on the day. On the month, we're up still. On the year, we're down 8% so far. It's all good. But yeah, don't sleep on XRP, guys. You know, don't sleep on a lot of these top alts. I think we are going to be in play for some sort of a rally here soon. And there's a handful of these projects. I'm just saying these are good levels to accumulate at. Sui's chart has been looking nice to me. Why don't we check Sui out? Sui, the past week is up nearly 30%, 12% on the month. But yeah, I think Sui has a lot going for it. I think Solana has a lot going for it. XRP, ADA at midnight, Ethereum, Chainlink, Avalanche, Hedera, just to name a few, I think are going to do well here. And yeah, but I'm interested to see what you guys think about this whole manipulation thing with Morgan Stanley, because this was such positive news. Depending on how you look at it, some people can't stand that these massive institutions are still moving into the space and, oh, they're centralizing everything, they're taking control of everything. Sure, whatever, however you want to look at it, guys. To me, this is just security, though, for me, because I'm holding Bitcoin in retirement. So if the big players that truly decide everything, if they're getting in, you know, with diamond hands and they're moving in tons of liquidity, I doubt that's a move in a couple of years from now they're going to exit. This is a long-term hold. You have entire, like the Trump family setting up a whole mining company, spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to buy hardware, you know, infrastructure, buildings, etc. These are massive moves. People don't make those moves if they're, you know, not thinking about 5 and 10 years, 15 years down the road. So depending on how you look at it, guys, everything that's happening with Wall Street, getting into Bitcoin, I know people are freaking out. Oh, it's centralized. Blah. I don't care. For me, it's security, because I'm holding on to this goddamn thing for a long time. So if the big guys are here as well, and they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're setting up all this infrastructure for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, it's good peace of mind for me. Because right now, I'm a massive ADA fan. I'm a massive Caspa fan, right? I've kind of rolled out of my Caspa positions a little bit. Why? Because no one's talking about it. There's not as much security there as there is with a Bitcoin or a Solana or an XRP. You know, these all have ETFs. There's no Caspa ETF yet. Now, one crypto I am still going to accumulate heavy if it gets more institutional interest or not. But it also just had a grayscale file for an ETF for it, but that's BitTensor. BitTensor is already moving too. I think it was just around 220 recently. Now it's 270, doing good on the week, up 21%, as a lot of these cryptos are. But yeah, I was looking at it at 219, like goddamn. Now it's up over 270. I'm telling you, this thing is going to move, guys. A big fan of BitTensor. Curious what you guys think. But yeah, this is just the way we're looking at it right now. Manipulation or not, things are going to even out here pretty soon. CRO is another one with big moves coming, moves to the upside. The Oracle, we got another CRO guy in here. Love to see it. Yeah, I think CRO has a lot going for it. I mean, everything that it has with the Trump administration, they're going to have their own moves, updates, and rollouts here pretty soon. I mean, crypto.com is where the freaking Lakers play. I mean, brilliant marketing. I've been there 2 years ago. The crypto.com arena, formerly the Staples Center. But yeah, I mean, I agree. The Oracle, there's definitely some that I didn't mention that are going to do well. But this is what's going on at the moment, guys. So give me your 2 cents. Let me know how we're thinking about this. I'll be back later today to chop it up with you guys, because this is what we do. Morgan Stanley, shout out to Morgan Stanley. XRP is looking good. Breaking above key resistance. Altcoins in general have broken above key resistance. So, you guys let me know what you think about Morgan Stanley. Grayscale filing for a bunch of ETFs as well. iShare, Fidelity. It's all looking good right now. Big moves are being made, guys, in this space. And eyes are starting to come back to this space. It's first institutional, but retail will follow as soon as these alts continue to run up a little bit. We're already starting to see a reversal. Bitcoin dominance is dropping a little bit. So these are very positive things. Will we get this Giga Chad bull run at some point in 2026? Only time will tell. Okay? If you want to pray to your gods and ask for an answer before that, go for it. Let me know if it works. But for me, I'm just giving you the news every day. That's what we do here in the Coin Zone. And as you guys know, I'm Crypto with Paul. So if you like this stream, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we're going live every day during the week. And make sure to like this video and also share it. Like I said, guys, you are watching the Coin Zone. I'm Crypto with Paul. I'll be back later today for another stream. But until then, the Oracle, appreciate you for tapping in. I'll see you guys next time.